Hi there. In real life, you are. You are. You're so much prettier in real life. How's that? And you've got friends. I know where your friends are hiding. I do. Oh, that's good. Just good. No hesitation there. Well, what do you think? Mm-hmm. You've had a really, really nasty go, haven't you? Had a nasty time? Hmm? I won't look at you. I'll just talk to you. I know. I'm glad you were able to get here. I am, but I'm not sure if I get hooked up to Wi-Fi here or not. Let's see. No, I don't think there's any Wi-Fi. Hi. Hi. Oh, I had a little stretch. Hi. You're so pretty. You are. You're very pretty. Mm-hmm. I distract you or something? Huh? I distract you? I like the view out your little window, too. Hi, pretty girl. Hi. Pretty girl and your invisible friends. But I know your friends aren't actually invisible. They're just hiding. They are. Some other happy girls. Hmm? What? I know, this is such an adventure for you, but not a very nice adventure in a lot of ways, huh? No, it's been very hard times. I can't imagine what you went through. But all the bad stuff, the really bad stuff's over now. It really is. It's over. And things are going to be way nicer now, but it's just going to take a little bit of time for you to get used to us. Because we're an interesting group. We are. And everybody is here to look after you. I haven't spent much time in this room. I have to look around. It's a very nice place for you. It is. It's a very nice place for you. Mm-hmm. And I bet your people are happy to know that you're safe. Yeah, I bet they are. I bet they are. And your buddy Dodger and Indy, I know you two are in there, and I know you're listening. I hope you're not terrified. I can't get you Let me just see if I can. Probably can't. This is like the old days when I came to visit, when Calvin and Mason and Bradley were in the basement room, and I would come and visit them and see if I could get them to come close to me. But you guys are different. You're not 100%. Well, you are 100% feral, but you're somewhat socialized. They weren't socialized at all. And they didn't get the human connection thing at all. So it took some doing and some long conversations. But I remember one of the things I did when I was visiting Calvin, after Mason had gone over to live with Shelley, and that was another whole story. But I read one of my stories to Calvin and I put him to sleep. I wonder if you'd like to hear one of my stories, or if your friends might fall asleep. That would be good, because I want you guys to feel comfortable here. Mm-hmm. Would you rather I stop looking at you? I can't resist though, you're so pretty. I can't wait till your coat is all shiny and glittering again, because I bet it glitters in the sun. Speaking of sun, we're not having any of that today, but that's all right. And I forgot to bring my water bottle in here. I was going to read a story, but I didn't bring in my juice bottle, so I'm not sure how far I'll get in the story before my voice gets out. You want me to start the story anyways? Hmm? Do you? So we have a picture of you from my view. Let's do that. We'll do it on here. I'll do a picture of you on here, and then when I get home later, I'll be able to put it on my computer, because I'm not hooked to the internet in here. There, now we have my view. You're even fluffier than my pole. Yeah, my pole is very fluffy. Very fluffy boy. But he gets brushed all the time. And he hasn't been through a flood. So he looks so much silkier than you guys do. But that'll get fixed. That'll get fixed. Yeah. Eventually it'll be better. It will. It'll eventually get better. Oh, brilliant. Thank you. We'll see if I can get some Wi-Fi here. Of course, the reading glasses aren't here. Let's see if I can read this. Hang on. I gotta put this down so I can see it. See how my squinting did. Okay. I'll do this again. Try that. Yay, we're into Wi-Fi, so that's good. Into the Wi-Fi. Now, we will just do this, because I would kind of like to see the guys in the shed while I'm doing this. Okay, that works. Perfect. All right, now let's see if we can find you a story. We'll see if we can find you a story. We'll just read you a story. If we can make it bigger. I didn't bring reading glasses, so this might be a bit of a... All right, if I hold it up here, I think I can read it. So it'll be a bit bumbly, okay? Maybe if I do it this way, it'll get bigger. Oh, there we go. That's better. All right, this is the first story, the first cat story I ever wrote. And it's story number 1 in book number 1. So it's not as, what would you say, convoluted as the rest of the stories. It's pretty simple and straightforward. All right, are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. This is Princess. Peering from under the gnarled stump where she'd hidden the night before, strange new sights and scents bombarded Princess. She blinked. It hadn't been a nightmare. She really had been yanked from her bed, stuffed in a box, taken for a ride in the car, and then tossed out on the side of the highway. The deafening noise of trucks and cars and the box shifting in the wind of each passing vehicle had been real. It had been blinding flashes of light. You know what? This isn't going to work. I gotta go get my glasses. Or did I put them in a pocket? I might have put them in a pocket. Hang on. Oh, we have liftoff. We have liftoff. I have the spare extras from my car. All right. Oh, what a difference that makes. Let's start again, okay? You okay, Jazz? All right. You guys listening in there? Okay. This is Princess. Peering from under the gnarled stump where she'd hidden the night before, strange new sights and sounds bombarded Princess. She blinked. It hadn't been a nightmare. She really had been yanked from her bed, stuffed in a box, taken for a ride in the car, and then tossed out on the side of a highway. The deafening noise of trucks and cars and the box shifting in the wind of each passing vehicle had been real, as had been the blinding flashes of light when she finally ripped her way out of the cardboard prison. Claws on fire and gums bleeding, she fled into the darkness of the trees, as though guided by an invisible hand, to the tiny sanctuary where she hid, panting, heart pounding, and petrified for hours while her terror had been punctuated by the sounds of other creatures not far away. In daylight, things were only slightly less frightening, and a shiver ran through her while she tried to make sense of her surroundings. This place wasn't like anything she'd ever seen before. It was the outdoors, where she'd never been allowed to go. But it was different from her yard. The ground felt very curious compared to the miles of grass she remembered tickling her toes on the day she sneaked outside to visit with the handsome cat singing the song of her people. When he'd asked her to dance, she'd been flattered, batted her eyelashes, and never thought about how the dancing might make her feel. But she'd been driven, couldn't help herself, and now her humans hated her. They hadn't put it into words, but there had been sharp looks for days, weeks, and then, after what they did last night, she knew for sure. Princess shuddered and shook off the sadness. She had things to do, although she wasn't sure what, and how could that be? Drawn by the irresistible presence of water, she carefully approached a wide silver dish and wasted little time sniffing and tasting before crouching low to lap with vigor and fill the emptiness in her belly. Catching a faint whiff of food, she tossed caution aside to nose through the vast arrays of scattered dishes, but they were all empty save for a bit of crusting at the edge of one. She made short work of the minuscule offering before something else caught her attention over by the trunk of a wide tree. Wasn't that a ratty toy like the one she had at home? Oh dear, how will I ever find my way to my toys, my soft bed and soft dishes? What am I to do? A bug skittered across her path, and without thought she pounced on it, crunched hungrily, and a vile taste filled her mouth. She shook her head, pawed at her mouth, and drool dripped until the bitterness eased. Best you don't try another one of those. They're not meant for eating. What? Who? She quickly swiveled around, trying to find the source of the voice, but saw no one. She backed toward the safety of her hollow. Or that's what she thought she was doing, but miscalculation had her hopping forward when her bottom made contact with something hard. She spun to stare at the heavy tunnel thing, and inside there was another muddy toy. She slinked toward it for a sniff. It smelled like the earth. Another cat's, and that couldn't be a good thing. She backed out then. Hang on. She backed out then, taking one careful step at a time, and rechecked the dishes for food. They come later. You'll have to wait unless you fancy yourself a hunter. She stayed very still, hoping to see movement from the owner of the voice, then gave up and asked, "Where are you?" "Close by." Well, that told her nothing. "There will be food later?" she asked. "Yes, when the ladies come. It's quite wonderful, but you'll have to meet the others and learn about the proper order of things first. There are rules." Princess didn't mind rules. She'd already learned not to scratch the furniture and to only get on the kitchen counter when no one was at home. But now she wasn't there, and the kids would miss her. Who would help them eat breakfast? She quite liked the little circle things, especially when they were soft from the milk in the bottom of the bowl. The mother person always said Princess wasn't to have milk because it made her poo runny, and perhaps it did, but she loved the sweet taste and the way the kids giggled when she ate from their bowls. Her tummy growled now, and she hunkered down to rest the noisiness of it on the cold dirt. She'd had nothing to eat since dinner last night, and mornings at home always meant food from the can. Oh dear. She slumped forward and rested her chin on her toes and tried one more time to imagine she was back where she belonged. She closed her eyes, then opened them quickly, hoping she'd find herself on the tiny pink bed that looked just like the one the little girl slept in. But she was still outdoors. "If you're hungry, you must do something about it." That voice again. "I'm afraid I don't know how. Could you help me, please?" A tiny cat the color of the earth and leaves and bits of charred wood sat up across the clearing, and good heavens, she must have been there the whole time, blending in perfectly. She stretched now and strode towards Princess, then sat again when she was very close. "You're quite wide. Some are clumsy with the weight of many kittens in their belly. Are you?" "I have eaten no kittens." "Good grief." The tiny cat yawned. "How old are you?" "I'm not exactly sure, but the children had a party for my 6-month birthday around the time they brought a tree indoors. One I was not allowed to climb, but I kept forgetting because it had toys hanging from the branches, and many bright colors on strings, and the colors were very hot, and when I tried to catch them, and after a while the tree was taken away. It was very cold outside back then, much colder than now, well, except for last night. I've never slept outdoors before." "Ah, well, you'd better come with me and we'll get you and yours something to eat." Princess followed the dainty cat, all the while feeling rather like an overstuffed pillow. "Excuse me, what is your name?" Her new friend glanced over her shoulder. "I'm Cisco. What do they call you?" "Princess." Well, Princess, just like the house where you lived, there are rules here, and they can be hard to learn, but it is my job to help you. Do you see the tips of my ears? How one is flat? It means people made it so I don't have to raise kittens anymore, which means I have time to spare. I could take you on and teach you the ways of the colony to make sure you do okay, but we'll see what the day brings. Was she to live outdoors then, without a house, no window ledges to lie on and watch the rain, no soft beds to snuggle into? Oh, but this would take some getting used to. Princess followed her new friend, ducked below some branches, climbed over others. It was hard work keeping her tummy from scraping. When she huffed a bit while scrambling over a slippery green tree lying on the ground, Cisco shushed her. Princess tucked behind Cisco, where she was crouched at the edge of a small grassy area. Not grass like at home, but long and waving in the wind. Hadn't Cisco promised her food? Why are we sitting here? I'm hunting. You'll need to stay absolutely still and watch what I do. Oh, okay. But how could her new friend really be hunting if she wasn't even moving? Princess was confused and too tired to care. Her eyelids drooped. Did you see that? She startled. What? The movement under the grass out there. She fought to get her eyes open and look at the place Cisco was staring at. Sure enough, there was the tiniest of movements. There's a creature under there. Stay here and watch what I do. Cisco moved one foot, then the other. Stayed frozen in place for a moment, then moved again, ever so slowly, continuing the pattern until she reached the place where the creature had been. Princess stifled a yawn. Cisco's tail twitched. Then she leapt through the air and pounced. Oh my goodness, she came bounding back across the field with something in her mouth. Things blurred a bit for Princess, as her friend taught her the rituals of giving the prey chances to escape before finally making a meal of it. Once finished, Princess felt somewhat uncomfortable, but her tummy no longer hurt, and she just couldn't stay awake. Slip back under the stump and take a nap. I'll stand guard. Princess needed no extra urging and fell into such a deep sleep that when she eventually woke up, she was disoriented. Was she at home? No, there was still that damp earthy smell. She crawled out and found Cisco there, as she'd promised, but the forest had changed. She was surrounded by movement, and great excitement filled the air. What is it? What's going on? It's nearly time. Caw, caw. Princess dove back into her hidey hole, peeked out. What was that? Nothing bad, just Jake. He's a crow. He waits in a tree by the highway and signals when they're coming. Who? The nice ladies who bring food. See, now I lost my spot again. That perked Princess up, and she boldly stepped into the open to sit beside Cisco. There were cats everywhere she looked. Orange ones, black ones, gray ones, some wearing many colors like Cisco, but none white with orange patches like Princess and the mom she barely remembered. A few stared at her, but most didn't even notice she was there before they all suddenly scooted down a narrow pathway. Where are they going? To meet the ladies. The food ladies? Yes. Oh, let's go too. I'm very hungry again. You must wait. There is an order, and because you are new, you'll eat after everyone else is finished. We'll stay here until it's your turn. What if they eat it all? The ladies know about hidden cats, the ones who don't come out until later to eat. Do I have to hide then? No, I want them to see you so they might help you. Take you to the place. The place? Where scary but magical things happen. And there is always food, and you can see the outside, but can't touch it. What if I don't like the place? If you hate it there, once the kittens are old enough, they'll bring you back here. What kittens? Shh, they're coming. Princess craned her neck to see past Cisco and watch the excitement. Oh my, there were even more cats now, and many that ran through the forest keeping pace with the lady. Her arms were wrapped around a huge sack, and bags hung from her shoulders. You guys are going to trip me one of these days, she laughed, and her glance swung past Princess, stopped, tracked back. Well, we have a new member. I see. Hello, sweet kitten. Aren't you pretty? Sorry, I'm not a very good. As soon as I get distracted, we're in trouble. The dozen or more cats meowing at the lady's feet dragged her attention back to the job at hand, and she busily filled dishes with dry food. The smell and the sound of happy crunching had Princess's tummy growling so loudly in protest she longed to push past Cisco and go to the food, but couldn't. Not after her new friend's unwavering kindness. Instead, she mimicked Cisco's position, lying still with her front toes folded under her, and she waited. It seemed to take an awfully long time, but she knew it truly wasn't. Not long like when the kids went to school and she was alone in the house. Oh my, this was nothing like the house where she lived, or had until last night when the mother came to get her and get her from where she was sleeping on the little girl's bed. Said they had no room, only wanted one cat. They'd get a male next time, so kittens would be someone else's problem. Princess hadn't understood what she meant. She's coming. Princess looked up to find the lady close to them. She had a soothing voice and kept talking quietly while offering a dish filled with food. Cisco backed away. Go, eat, and let her pet you. She'll take care of you. Cisco skittered to a food container farther from the lady. You are very pretty, and I bet you're hungry. The lady knelt and put a dish on the ground, and Princess simply couldn't resist. She took one step, another, and was suddenly so lost in the smell of the taste, she completely forgot her manners, gobbled without looking up. When the dish was nearly empty, she realized the lady was stroking her and talking into one of those sort of square flat things like the people at her house did. She's big like a pumpkin and definitely not feral. Hang on, I'll send you a video. She held the square thing towards Princess for a minute, then put it back to her ear and laughed. I'll figure something out and meet you there. She ran her hand down Princess's back. This, my friend, is your lucky day. And I'm about to do something I shouldn't do, but I'm betting you'll be good with it. So happy with a full tummy, Princess didn't even squirm when the lady lifted her into one of the big bags she'd been carrying when she arrived. When the top was folded over and she couldn't see, there was a moment of fear because of the box thing the night before, but Cisco's voice soothed her. She's kind, Princess, and she's taking you to a special place where you'll never have to worry again. After the kittens are weaned, you'll get a wonderful forever home with people you can trust. Okay. She let herself relax and enjoy the warmth she could feel coming from where she was held close to the lady. I'll be back in about a half hour to finish up, the lady told the gathering of cats as she marched by them. And as for you, pretty girl, I'm betting the last car ride you were on ended badly, but this time it will be much better. Happy life, Princess. Thank you for helping me, Cisco. When they were inside the car, the lady let Princess peek out of the bag. She rubbed her ears until purring started. Your babies will be born in a warm, safe place, and after they've gone off to their homes of their own, you'll be spayed, and you'll never have to worry about kittens again, and then you'll get a fabulous home too. Princess liked the sound of that. She liked the sound of a fabulous new home, but why did everybody keep talking about kittens? At the end of a short car ride, a second lady brought a crate from the house to the car, and Princess went inside it to get the tuna she could smell. She didn't mind when the door closed to keep her trapped, and she'd almost finished the plate of goodness by the time she was lowered onto the floor inside the house. Now she could do nothing but wait to find out what would happen next. Hey, pretty girl. Oops, you don't want to do that. Hey, pretty girl, this is going to be a very good day for you, so just hang in there while I gather some things. Be right back. The house lady sounded very nice, but Princess didn't care for being left in the crate, and she pushed at the door with her nose, but it didn't budge. She dug the blankets away from the front, then used her sore paws to pull at the door, but it stayed firmly fastened. Meow! Goodness, said the forest lady as she came back through the doorway. You have quite the voice. Meow! She laughed. I get it. You want out. Just give me a sec. She scooted out of sight, and then the door slammed somewhere in the house. She's not happy being locked up. Well, said the house lady, I guess we better let her out then. She crouched in front of the cage. Welcome to Rescue HQ, pretty one. When she opened the cage and reached in with a towel, Princess was wrapped up and lifted out to sit on the lady's lap. There was some groping of her wide belly. There were bright lights in her eyes. eyes, her teeth were checked, and her ears peered into, and all the while she purred because she really did love attention. Then the lady let her free, but she didn't know what to do and simply stood in the middle of the tiny room. "How about another snack?" the forest lady said. And the sound of a top coming off a can had Princess at full attention. She loved more of the tuna. A dish was set in front of her. Her nose twitched. Not tuna, but it smelled delicious, so she dug right in and didn't mind having the lady sit on the floor beside her. Poor girl looks ready to burst. A gentle hand stroked down her back. "Probably due any minute." "Well, after your call, I tried to get us an ultrasound appointment, or x-rays, but they're doing an emergency surgery right now and have a stack of people waiting. The soonest I could get was tomorrow at 4. Let's hope she doesn't have them in the night. I guess it would save the expense of the ultrasound and stuff, though." "True, but she looks really young, still a kitten herself, and it's much better to know how many babies are in there just in case she has trouble delivering. It will also give us a better idea of how far along she really is, whether they're 6 or 7 half-cooked or 3 ready to pop out any minute." Princess continued licking the plate while wondering what the ladies were talking about, and once there wasn't a morsel left, she quickly washed her face, then went exploring. She had a yen for small places lately and longed for a soft spot to sleep. "How you doing up there? Am I putting you to sleep yet?" Princess had found the perfect place in the bottom of a closet at home just a few days ago, but now she didn't have it at home. She shook off the sadness threatening to overwhelm her, threw herself into searching, and scored right away. It was kind of like the kitchen cupboard and the mother person wouldn't let her play in, but with no pots and things. Instead, the floor of this one was lined with fluffy blankets. She dug and rooted around until she'd made it just right, kneaded a bit, then snuggled in for a nap, but couldn't fall asleep. Maybe there was a better place. She prowled, found another cabinet thing with more cushy blankets, and again, after some rearranging, tried to settle in for a sleep, but the thought of the first bed niggled at her. Maybe it had been softer. Or maybe there was an even better bed she hadn't seen yet. She searched every corner, nook, and cranny of the room and found quite a few places she could make a bed, but in the end went back to the first one, where she'd almost fallen asleep when the ladies started talking. "Yeah, definitely nesting, and she is huge. Yeah, no way I'm leaving this catermelon alone tonight," said the house lady. Princess poked her head out to watch them set up a bed on skinny legs, then top it with a pillow and a sleeping bag. Princess loved sleeping bags, so soft and warm, and you can hide inside them to play or nap. She yawned. Time for that nap now. But she must have eaten too much. Her tummy hurt, and she kept moving around to find a better position. For hours she went from one bed to the next, digging at the blankets, shoving them aside, piling them up. She even tried wedging herself into a small space behind one of the cabinets, but that didn't work either. And then the pain grew unbearable, and the lady was there talking to her, telling her everything would be okay. But it wasn't, because something was wrong, very, very wrong, and she needed to be rid of whatever was crawling inside of her. She went to the box and had a poop and didn't feel any better, so she stretched out on the cool floor for a while, dozed off and on until a pain ripped through her belly and went all the way to her toes. She shot to her feet and headed back to the first bed. In the safety of the cabinet, she strained to work with a constant ache, and the house lady opened the doors to lean in and tell her over and over again what a good job she was doing. Oh, the comfort coming from that voice, from the hand stroking gently over her head while time passed in a haze of agony. There was a spot under her tail that seemed to need her attention, and Princess tried numerous times but couldn't reach around her massive belly to tend to the problem. Then she had to push from inside. She strained, and suddenly there was a thing, a wet, wriggling bundle, and she desperately needed to take care of it. Anxious to get it free of the sack it was in, she somehow knew it was a kitten, but terribly wet, and she had to get it dry, quickly. She licked, and it started making little squiggly sounds and squeaking noises, and then the torment started again, and somehow something else was suddenly there, and she had to clean it up right away. Had to keep it away from her other kitten, her kitten. How crazy was that? But the torturous stabbing through her insides hadn't gone away, and now she understood. Another kitten was coming. She had to leave the first. Well, she got the next one out. She strained, nothing happened. The pain ate at her strength. What a good mama you are. The now familiar voice was kind and soothing. I can help you a bit, okay? She watched the lady take the kitten and rub it with a towel until it started squeaking again, and then she put it back in the nest beside Princess. Here you go. She's nice and dry and ready for milk bar. Another massive pain sliced through Princess, and a second kitten came from inside of her. And then everything blurred together, pain, another kitten, cleaning over and over, and she was getting too tired to go on, and the lady gave her food and helped cut cords and dry off babies until finally Princess was done, finished, exhausted and sore, and her insides kept cramping and cramping even though she was finally empty. This was why Cisco had gone on and on about kittens. For just a moment, Princess let her gaze rest on the little ones, pulling on her nipples. Then she lowered her head and let sleep drag her away while the lady kept talking to someone who wasn't there. Final count is 7, every one of them ginger and white, just like Mama. 3 girls, 4 boys, all that strong while Mama gets some rest. Ah, rest, thought Princess. She could rest now, because the special ladies had promised they would keep her safe forever and for always. And that is the princess story. Did I put you to sleep? You're trying to sleep sitting up, aren't you? How about your buddies inside? Did they go sleeping? Let me have a look. No, they just want me to go away. That's all right. Oh, now I'm out of voice. What do you think? Was that an okay visit? I can just sit and hang with you guys now for a while if you like. That's the time. You probably want me to go away so you can have a sleep, huh? You guys didn't have an adventure like Princess, but you had a different kind of adventure. I bet you never want to see a big pool of water again in your entire lives. I bet. And you had great hiding places. You were very, very smart, and you were brave. You're survivors. Yes. Go ahead, close your eyes. I can see you trying to close your eyes. You know, there was somebody in here before, in this room, and his name was Wesley. And I actually painted a picture of him right in that position because that was his go-to spot when he was afraid. Because he was feral like you. But he gave up his feral card. He shredded it, burned the remains, and him and his girlfriend Buttercup are in a nice, wonderful home. But I understand you already got rid of your feral card. You're just a scared girl now, huh? I'm just gonna hang out. I can see these guys now that I messed with that. To find it again. There we are. Oh good, I put some other cats to sleep. I never thought I should have left my computer on at home. I could have put Poe to sleep, but Poe would already be sleeping because before I go out, whenever I go out, I always give Poe a little handful of his, he thinks are treats, but it's just kibble. And I throw a little handful, I scatter it on the floor so that it's scattered on the floor like these dots, and he goes around and has to find each one. And while he's doing that, I go out, which I started that in the beginning because I had a cat that used to try and follow me out the door all the time. So I'd scatter some food on the floor and then go out the door really quickly. And it just became a habit. And it was kind of cool habit because the all my cats now, when they hear me put on, I call them my swishy pants. I wear, they're the Eddie Bauer nylon-y kind of pants that they kind of swish when I walk. And I never wear them unless I'm going out. And as soon as I start making a swishy noise when I walk, all of my cats always have been like, oh, you must be going out. It's treat time. So Poe's very sharp about that. As soon as I put on those pants, he knows I'm going out and he starts to follow me around. And then he gets his treats on the floor. And if I'm back really quickly, I find him sound asleep. And it appears that he sleeps for about 2 or 3 hours after he has a little offering of what he believes are treats. Where you headed, girl? Are you going to come down? Huh? That would be so nice if you came down. It would. I had treats down here. There's special treats down here. They are scattered on the floor like the Poe would get. So yeah, Poe he'll be sound asleep now, especially after his antics yesterday. He was so hilarious. So hilarious. Hi, honey. That's a much better look on you than leaning on the wall. It is. It is. I would love to come up there with the toothbrush and give you a little bit of brushing, but I don't want to push that envelope today. I want you to just be comfortable with me being here. When I read that story to Calvin, it was on camera, and he went absolutely sound asleep, sleeping like a brick, and it's like, okay, yeah, so I'm good company. That was pretty funny, but it was pretty special because Calvin still will, I don't know if he remembers me exactly, but he alerts to my voice. You can see this sort of like digging around in his memory, oh, wait a minute, I know you, don't I? But I had a chance to visit him in his home a few times. Poe got to meet Calvin. And, oh yeah, about Poe yesterday. You would have had fun there too, I bet. You and Poe could have played. I was setting up my loom, and I thought he was going to take off with one of the screws, and it's like, no, I need all of those to put this thing together. Putting things together is not my forte. The last thing I need is have a missing piece. But, I mean, as it is, I've had that loom sitting there in a box for about 3 weeks, trying to work up the gumption, I suppose, to actually take it out of the box and put it together. I mean, part of that was because I had other things I had to get done before I could start weaving. And I had a bunch of commissioned rocks to finish. But I finished all my commissions, and so I was allowed myself to weave, but first I have to set up my loom. So Poe and I did that yesterday, and it was fun. See, if you were down here in a soft place or over there in a soft place, you could have had snooze. How about right there? Oops, I think it went behind. There is one on the soft thing. You could go over there and get it if you wanted. It is. It's kind of good, actually. I should do another one. That's pretty good. 2 out of 3 for me is pretty good. I definitely have klutz DNA. Coordination is not my strong suit, which makes it a really good thing that I'm not on camera when I'm trapping. Yeah. And I think the 2 girls that I trapped on Friday got to go home today, or going home today, because they just had quick checkups and got to go back. They were in good shape, and they were not the target cats, but they volunteered. And when they volunteer, it's nice that TinyKittens is able to do a checkup and do vaccines and deworming and whatnot, and then they can go right safely back to their lives with barely a bump. Because those 2 were definitely not candidates for staying indoors. And the other 2 that came in are under vet care, and so we'll see how they do. See if they change their minds about where they want to live. You going back to your corner? Huh? Going back to your corner? Poor girl. Yeah. Floodwaters are hard on long-haired kitties, aren't they? Mm-hmm. It's hard. You turn right around and face me. Hi. Hi. Aww. Lean on the wall and sleep. Aww. That is so cute. You look just like Wesley now. Well, an entirely different color, but actually I'll send this to a friend. It's okay. There. You're a very pretty girl. You are. And you're so lucky that you were rescued and living in a wonderful sanctuary, and life was just going to be perfect. You had wonderful people that cared for you. And then Mother Nature had an issue, and things kind of went sideways. But it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. You made it. You survived. You're strong. Mm-hmm. Oh, for heaven's sakes, that's not what I was trying to do. See, I'm even a klutz with technology. I just want to have a look at these guys in there. Maybe tomorrow when I come. Oh, that's such a pretty face when you're looking up like that. Wow. Can you hear a camera moving? Is that what it is? You're so pretty. Yeah. Today's just first day. I don't know if I guess I could read another story tomorrow. Come and see you. Hmm? Maybe tomorrow you'll be that much braver and you'll be trusting some more. Because this really is a cool place to hang out, you know. If you can't be in your home right now in a safe place, then being here is pretty darn cool. It is. Hmm? With the fluffiness, you're so much like Poe. I just want to pick you up and snuggle you. He's really good that way. You just pick him up, put him in your arms. Auntie Suzanne taught him that when he was little. And he'll just flop in your arms and stay there. And even at intake, I remember he was in Shelley's lap, and he was upside with his feet up in the air. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny because he was upside down in her lap, and he was making air biscuits, and he still does that. But now he has a thing, if I've got him in my arm like that, and normally it's like that because he's been on my desk trying to get into my stuff, and I grab him and throw him in my arms, and then he reaches up and touches my face. I've had to teach him not to reach up with his teeth and grab my jaw. He did that a couple of times because he didn't have a long time with a litter. I don't have a feeling, so he didn't learn some of the cat stuff. But he's a really good boy. All I have to do is say "ow" out loud, and he just goes "oh" and looks at me, and then he like gently removes his teeth. But he's a good boy. It's a love bite. It's not like he bites. That's his attention getting thing. He needs and needs and needs, and then his teeth just have to follow. He's very funny. You're such a good girl. I think I probably should leave so you will go to sleep. Hmm? I think you guys are ready for another nap. Huh? You had enough of my attention? Because I so badly want to brush you. And you so badly want to go to sleep. Sleepy, sleepy girl. Hmm? You sleepy girl. It's all you can do to stay upright. You're going to fall off of it. I don't want you to fall off. So I think I'm going to go, and then you're going to get to rest better. Hmm? It'd be better if I go so you can rest, huh? You're such a pretty girl. Oh, it's okay, Dodger. It's okay, Dodger. I'm gonna go now. It's okay. Thank you for listening, beautiful girl. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow, okay? I'll come back and visit with you tomorrow. I will. I will. That's really worth a picture. It is. There you go. Have a good sleep.